Carnivore 80-20 challenge starting in September. I'm doing it. Are you up for joining me? Hey, what's shaking bacon? My name is Bruno Panucci. I hope you're doing well. So I've been doing this carnivore way of eating for over a year and a half, and I've been plateaued for the last 8 months or so. It's actually been a year and 8 months. So I've lost about 90 to 100 pounds doing this since I've been carnivore, and I've lost 150 pounds total from doing zero carb / carnivore. I did it intermittently for a lot of years, and though I've been getting lots of benefits through this plateau, and I can't stress that enough, I've been getting non-scale victories during this plateau. I've still lost a few inches on my waist. My scale hasn't moved too much. My lean mass has stayed the same. My body fat roughly stayed the same. And it's time for me to switch it up. I've explored trying different things through the last year. I've been doing this carnivore channel, and it's time for me to do something new. So what I've been doing is I've been playing with this ratio of an 80-20 ratio. 80% of my calories from fat, 20% of my calories from protein. Usually most people stick between a 70 to 80% fat, and they do pretty well. Even if they're not trying to do it, just doing a carnivore diet typically keeps you in that range. If you're having lots of chicken and turkey and really lean cuts of meat and different types of meat, it's going to be a pretty tough way to eat, and you won't feel good doing a carnivore diet. So the higher fat typically makes people feel better. So this is at least an 80-20 ratio. If you want to go higher fat, then you're welcome to do that. The goal of this is to still get enough protein while you do this. So you want to average your protein out. We'll go over the basic guidelines of this challenge starting in September. If you're coming late to this, sometime through September or a different month, I plan on doing this for at least 3 months, September, October, November. I may go into December and do it. I may not. It depends on how my results are. But if I'm getting good results, I'm going to keep this up. Now, I can't stress this enough. So this is my personal challenge I was doing for myself. This is something that I decided I wanted to give a try. I was going to start in September. And a few people who were watching my video said, I want to follow along with you. So I kind of put an invitation out in my last video, and a lot of people were very interested. I was quite taken back and surprised by how many people were interested. So I started a Facebook group, and this Facebook group is going to be a sort of community for us who are doing this challenge to connect. The problem with this Facebook group is anyone watching these videos on YouTube can ask to join the group. And so I might get the odd troll that joins in there. And if something like that happens, they're going to be out. I have no patience for anyone who's going to be condescending and rude and tear anyone down. It's one thing when you want to bounce ideas off of each other and support each other. It's another thing when you're trying to make someone look bad or feel bad for what they're doing. So we want to try and stick to the rules of the group, but at the same time, we don't want to be mean to each other. The odd knucklehead might slip through, but they'll quickly get evicted by me personally, because I'm the only admin of this group. I'm not making this group so tens of thousands of people can join. I'm making this group so that anyone who wants to do this challenge along with me can keep it up. I may eventually do a different Facebook group just to have a community. I may do a YouTube community group. I just don't know how to do that yet. I plan on looking into that later today. So that way anyone who doesn't have a social media account on Facebook can still keep up some kind of group on YouTube. So I'm not sure how that works exactly. I'm just going to go through the process in a couple hours to see how that works, if it's even a doable option. So I'll have a link to the Facebook group below for anyone who wants to join and participate. Even if you don't want to participate and you just want to join and get fueled by the other people who are doing this and see how it's going, you're welcome to join. I don't plan on being a coach in this group. Yes, it's my group. Yes, it's something I plan on doing. I'll answer any questions that anyone has for me, but this is a group for everyone to work with each other, just like any other carnivore group out there. There's going to be some basic rules, some basic guidelines, and for the most part, it's just going to be about people building each other up. I don't want to see anyone go outside of the rules of what this challenge is going to be, because I don't want people to slip somebody else up. That's why we're going to keep these rules somewhat rigid when it comes to the 80-20. If someone wants to go higher than that, that's great. But if someone wants to try this and do their own version of it, may not go over too well in the group, because I want everyone to try this challenge. If you want to do your own challenge and follow along and kind of keep quiet, you're more than welcome to. But the point of this group is to stick to this challenge I'm doing. I'll do a different group for a different challenge I do in the future. I've had nobody ever want to join me on my challenges. This is going to be a new experience. I'm going to be figuring it out as I go along, and I hope you guys like it. I always look forward to constructive criticism to try and make this a better process. Now it's not just for me, but for anyone else who's going to be a part of this. So like I said, the link's going to be in the video below to the Facebook group. Now that being said, I can't stress this enough. This challenge isn't for everyone. I'm doing this challenge because I've hit a plateau for about 8 months with my scale now and my overall weight. My lean mass has stayed pretty good at about 185 to 190 pounds, but my body fat has been going down really slowly, and it's fine because it's still progress. I'm happy with that, but I think I can tweak it. And there's a reason why I'm doing an 80%, 20% challenge as far as calories go between fat and protein. Most people who do a carnivore diet can just do a regular carnivore diet and everything goes really well. It works like this. You cut out carbohydrates, you don't have as many sugar spikes, which means you don't have as many insulin spikes. And people eventually start losing weight, feeling better, their health problems go away. This insulin seems to be causing inflammation systemically through the body, and it creates all sorts of other pathologies. So as your insulin gets better managed, all your health conditions start getting better. And that's a pretty cool thing. And your weight loss starts happening. Now, in my experience, I noticed that my health problems were getting better before it's any substantial weight loss. So that's pretty cool. I do this to feel good. The side effect is losing weight. I say that all the time. I noticed, even though I feel pretty good, my weight loss is stalled. So I'm doing this to tweak it. Most people who do a carnivore diet get a lot of weight loss in a relatively short amount of time, in just a few months. Now, some people are where I'm at, and after a while, they've hit these plateaus. And why is it that happened? Well, I've talked to Kelly Hogan specifically about this. If anyone out there doesn't know who Kelly Hogan is, she's a 13-year carnivore. She was doing zero carb for 5 years before that. And I highly recommend you check out episode 100 of my channel for the interview that I did with her. And she talks about this. And she said, traditionally, carnivores would just say, your body's healing, just ride it out. And some people have been in these plateaus for a long time. Now, she started these coaching groups, and I highly recommend you go to her for some of her coaching groups because she is an amazing coach. She hasn't had any problems doing carnivore for years. She's fat adapted. What she found is happening with people is their blood sugar is too high and they're not burning enough ketones. So she's recommended people start using a blood glucose monitor and a ketone monitor. Now you can get a 2-in-1 called a Keto Mojo. She recommended this. There's lots of different brands out there that can do this, but I'm going to put a link to the Keto Mojo below the video as well for anyone who wants to follow along with numbers, but you don't need it. If you're kind of on the geeky side, and I have one of these machines too, but if you're on the geeky side and you like measuring it with numbers and you want to have things calculated out, it's a great way to go. It's a great way to go if it's stubborn, if what's happening isn't working too well and you want to tweak it, you can go that way. But for the most part, you can just eyeball it. I've been playing around with this for about 3 or 4 weeks so far in August, and I've lost almost 10 pounds doing it. I'm very satisfied and happy with that. I haven't been doing it consistently. I haven't been using my Keto Mojo yet at all, and I've had success with this just by eyeballing it. So the point is, anyone out there who's doing a carnivore diet, you probably don't need to do this if you're getting results. If you feel good on your carnivore diet, keep on doing a carnivore diet. But if you find you've gotten to the point where you need to tweak things, and you've hit a plateau for a while with the scale, and I'm not talking 2 weeks or maybe even a month or two, that literally could be your body adapting. So there's different ways to get into ketosis. One of them is intermittent fasting. I'm a fan of that. So before anyone criticizes me, I'm a fan of it, but it's not for everybody. A different way to lower your insulin is multiple small meals a day. Now that goes against the whole theory of fasting, but hear this out. Your blood sugar spikes when you have 1 or 2 meals a day. Let's say just 1 meal a day. Your blood sugar spikes and your insulin spikes with that. Even though you're doing a carnivore diet, you usually get pretty good results. But what happens is some people have worse insulin resistance and it's more stubborn. So that spike through the day doesn't get processed very well by the body and the insulin isn't going down. So what happens is if you have small meals through the day, you're only going to get little insulin bumps, not spikes. Everyone thinks if you break a fast with a snack, you're going to get a sugar spike and an insulin spike. No, you don't. You get a bump. And the goal of this is multiple small bumps through the day. It's a different way to manage insulin. If you have more questions about that, just look up Dr. Boz on YouTube and you can follow a lot of her videos. She's big on intermittent fasting. It's a great tool to use, but this is another tool to use. Another tool on top of that can be exercise. Ask any diabetic person who pricks their finger and checks their blood sugar after they've eaten and their blood sugar is up. If they go for a 20-minute walk, it lowers their blood sugar and that's going to lower the insulin spike and help everything to get managed. I've said this before, whether you're a bodybuilder or you just want to go for a walk, it doesn't matter how healthy or unhealthy you are, some exercise is going to help moderate your blood sugar and that's going to lower your insulin response and that's going to help manage your insulin resistance. So we have a few ways we can manage insulin resistance. For this challenge, we're going to be doing it with multiple small meals a day. So the goal is to have Ballpark protein the size of your hand and enough fat on top of that if you don't get enough fat in that meal to make sure that you're getting at least an 80-20 ratio. And then if it's not enough, add more fat with that. You can Google your numbers until I get everything posted in the group or other people start posting what the fat percentages to protein percentages are. People often do it by adding butter. That's what I'm going to be doing it with because it's affordable. So I can't stress this enough. Do what works best for you. If you want to try something different, this may work. If you've had a stall with your weight loss, this may work. It's the first thing that's budged the scale for me in the last 8 months. Keep in mind, there's no one right way to do carnivore. What's right for me may not be right for others. I have to be 100% strict with carnivore. I know some people who do carnivore and they can have little treats every now and then. That's fine. That works for them. But the goal of carnivore, the goal of zeroing in on health that first really got this going was a zero carb diet. Zero sweeteners, zero added sweets at all. No artificial sweeteners. So there's no fruit. There's no sweet tasting artificial sweeteners as well. The goal is to stay away from sweet foods. I have a sugar addiction and I find I have to stay away from sweets of all kinds. So I have to abstain. There's abstainers and moderators. I'm an abstainer. You might be a moderator. If you find you're not getting the results you want moderating, you might be an abstainer and you might have to look deeper into that. I'm going to put out a series of shorts in the next few days, and one of them is going to be on the Keto Mojo, one of them is going to be on different foods, one of them is going to be on food prep, and I'm going to eventually edit them into one big video, but for now, it's going to be a bunch of small videos. But for now, they're just going to be short, easy to watch videos that are going to be different topics, and one of them is going to be food. So just to start you off so you can be prepared for this, most people, if they want to have protein the size of their palm, that's a good way to start. Add fat to that. Just because it's an 80-20 ratio doesn't mean you can't add extra fat. You don't have to worry about having extra fat when you do this. You want to at least have an 80-20 ratio. Don't worry about fat calories. I find if I have a 6-ounce burger patty, I'll take 3 tablespoons of salted butter with that. Now, I find I like cold butter better than room temperature butter if I'm just putting it in my mouth. Cold butter actually isn't too bad. I'll have it on the meat. Sometimes I'll have it beside the meat. But either way, that's the way it works. It doesn't work if you have a bunch of protein and then later in the day have a bunch of butter. You have to have it together, right? You want the medium chain triglycerides from the butter to help process the meat and to help lose the weight. So you want to have smaller portions throughout the day. So the outline for the challenge is this: 4 meals, moderate protein, and to find out your protein, take your ideal body weight you want to be at. So typically you want to use your lean mass, but if you want to be at 170 pounds, you take 170 pounds, divide it by 0.7, and that's the amount of grams you want. You want to divide that up so you get all that through the day. So if you take that number, you're going to divide that up between 4 meals, and that's how much protein you want. If you find you're not getting the results that you want, you may want to, just for the first couple of weeks, lower your protein just a little bit, just temporarily, to help get you into ketosis. And slowly, once you start becoming a little more metabolically sound, you can start slowly adding that. It may take a couple weeks, it may take a couple months. Don't go too extreme with this. If you're hungry, you're doing it wrong. I don't want you to be hungry. Get more fat in your diet if you're feeling hungry. 4 meals, moderate protein. Ideally, for now, I'm going to say try and stick around 30 grams of protein per serving. We'll get more specific about that when I go over my challenge in September 1st video. So some foods that are high in fat: pork belly, ribeyes. I find that can be very expensive living off ribeyes, so I just stick with simplicity. I will probably have 6-ounce burger patties for most of my meals. If I find I'm losing too much muscle, I'm probably going to up that eventually, but for the start, I'm going to be doing 6-ounce burger patties. I've been doing this inconsistently in August and getting pretty good results. When I start doing this in September, I'm expecting much better results, and we're going to be monitoring it as I go along. I'll be monitoring my lean mass to body fat ratio as I go through this. So I'm all about doing this on a budget. So I'm doing it with the meat patties. I'm doing it with the added butter. If you want, you can have bacon in there. You can have any meat you want. Just make sure you're adding the extra fat to get it to that ratio. And like I mentioned, if you're not sure, just do a Google search. When you do this, if you have a big appetite like I do, your meat bill is going to go way down, and that's really nice. Your butter bill is going to go up, but you're still going to be ahead of the game. because now I'm only having a couple pounds of meat a day and I feel good. When I tried doing a couple pounds of meat before, I felt horrible. I was getting all the symptoms you don't want to have. Incredibly tired. I was getting cold. My hair in my head was getting thinned out. I just wasn't feeling good. I was a little on the lethargic side, but I couldn't take a nap. It was really weird. Those are all signs of protein poisoning. You're not getting enough fat. So I want to make sure when you're doing this, you're doing it safe. I think you want to have a little more calories, not a little less calories. You got to get that idea out of your head that you need to eat less. I get it if you're going to have a little bit less, but within a week or two, even if you have stubborn results, you will start progressing. A lot of people have been getting those results. So you're not any different. And that's why you're doing this, because your body's going to adapt. It's not just going to happen like this for everybody. Some people, it's just going to happen over a period of a week or 2 weeks before they start noticing a difference on the scale. I plan on doing this for at least 3 months. If you want to try it for 1 month and see how it goes, that makes total sense. But if you want to maybe stick it out for the full 3-month challenge, do that. I'm incorporating some exercise into this, and not just any exercise, weight-bearing exercise, because this is what I noticed when people do these ratios. And I mean no offense to anyone who comes from a keto background, but keto can leave people kind of skinny fat. They lose a lot of lean mass, and you see their shoulders start to go in, and then they start losing fat, and they sort of lose weight like this. Now, I want to lose weight like this. My goal with this channel has always been to keep my lean mass. So I want to see what I can do to maintain my lean mass. What are the best exercises to maintain and build some lean mass as you're doing a challenge like this without having to live in the gym? Squats. Squats are the best way to build lean mass. Videos on some basic exercises are going to be things that are coming up in this channel so that you can maintain your lean mass as you lose weight. So they say you don't burn muscle when you go into aggressive ketosis, but you may not be in aggressive ketosis the whole way through this. So I want you to do what you can to maintain your lean mass. You don't want to lose 30 pounds as an example and have 10 of it be your lean mass. That's not good. We want to lose 30 pounds of just fat if you have 30 pounds you want to lose. You're going to have a better metabolism at the end of this if you've maintained your lean mass and only lost fat. So you won't know unless you have a keto mojo if you're in aggressive ketosis. You're just going to be in ketosis, and that means you could lose some lean mass with this, and we want to prevent that, okay? And I want to prevent that for myself. That's part of my challenge. Small exercise routine, focusing on 4 meals a day. If I really needed to, I would add a 5th. If I really needed to, I would add extra protein per serving if I wasn't feeling good. So keep that in mind. Be flexible when you do this. Start with whatever number works for you, and I recommend the palm of your hand and go from there. So for now, don't overthink it. 4 meals a day, 80-20 ratios, add butter or fat trimmings. Let me know if you want to join that Facebook group. I'm not the most tech savvy guy when it comes to social media, so I found the way to post the link in this YouTube video, and it should take you right to the Facebook page. I'm not sure from there how that works because I haven't done this before. So we'll see how this goes. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks a lot. I really think it's cool if you join along. You don't have to formally join along with me. You can just follow along watching these videos. But if you want to be part of a community to have some support, check out the Facebook group. You're welcome to join. Once again, just don't be a douche. And I'll get back to you through a YouTube story or my next video to see if we can have some sort of YouTube community. So leave a comment down below again if you're interested in doing this challenge, or even if you have your own challenge you want to do for the next month or 2. Just tweak what you're doing. If you're not getting the results you want, play around a little bit. Thanks a lot, and I hope you take care.